Good evening and welcome to another edition of What's So Funny, the show that probes the brains, the minds, the psyches of the people who make the funny. This week, tonight, our old friend Sugar Sammy makes his fourth visit to What's So Funny. We spoke on April 8th, 2010 at the Hotel Bar of the Pan Pacific here in Vancouver. It's a full hour, so let's get to it. Here now, Sugar Sammy. We're here with Sam Khullar. Sugar Sammy. Oh, you laugh as soon as I say your real name. Why is that?
Because you're one of the only ones who uses it, which is great. I love it. You're helping me make the transition.
Yeah, on your website, Sam Khullar is Sugar Sammy.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, just trying to get the name out, you know?
Yeah. You're cooler. How come you never went with like cool, like Cool, cooler?
I don't know. I think maybe my family would have objections to changing the spelling of the name. I don't know. Just never happened. But something to think about.
You are a frequent guest on this program, and thank you very much for that. Because I know you are so in demand. This is a far cry. We're sitting at the Pan Pacific, the bar overlooking North Shore. And this is much better than the first time I interviewed you in your hotel room in New Westminster by Laugh Lines.
Yeah, I forget the name of the hotel. What was it called? What was that? What was it? Do you remember the name of the hotel?
I do not, but it was fancy.
It wasn't fancy at all. It was right next to the Laugh Lines. But they were nice people. There were nice people at that hotel. If I ever need to be on the run from the law, that's where I'm going to stay.
It was hard to get in. I do remember that. You had to come down and get me in.
Yeah, because the buzzer code wasn't working or something.
But things are improving. You're moving up.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, it feels like. I mean, although I've been in the middle of the storm, so I know exactly what it took to get here. So it doesn't feel like, from an outside perspective, it probably feels like it's a big change. But for me, it's been gradual, you know.
Yeah, and I also feel a bit bad because I had to tear you away from 2 interviews with gorgeous women.
Right.
And now here you are with me, unshaven in a week and looking like crap.
Yeah, they have my numbers. So
hey. Now I see the big time flirting going on, at least them to you.
All right.
I mean, you are the rock star of comedy. You are a pretty boy. I know you don't like to hear that, or maybe you do. But I mean, it's a big thing for them to be talking to you. Has anything ever happened with an interviewer and yourself?
Man, I can't talk about that. I don't know. I mean, never on purpose. Like it's not been. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm trying to avoid this question.
I'm going to ask the hard-hitting questions. I'm sure they just toss you softballs, lob balls, whatever they're called, in those interviews. But I'm asking the hard-hitting ones.
Right.
You're just going to avoid it.
Actually, no. I mean, it's never been. If it has happened, it's never been. It's never been.
Wait a second. If it has happened.
If it would have happened, it would never have been in a sleazy way. I think I've always been respectful of women, just because I have a mom and a sister that I really have to hear from every day and I have to talk to. So I think I'm very sensitive on that.
Yeah, whatever. But the gorgeous. Why are Indian women so gorgeous?
Man, I think you've just seen the good ones, because I think it's always hit and miss. And I feel like there's never a middle ground. Either they're really, really pretty. Yeah. You know what I mean? Either they're really, really pretty or they're beasts. It's like you either get like... It's like if you come home and you turn the TV on, it's either like you're watching fashion television or the Animal Planet. Like there's never like a middle ground in there.
Okay. Well, I live on the outskirts of Little India.
Surrey, is that right?
No. Little India, Vancouver.
Don't they call it Surrey or?
No, that's a different city.
Oh. There's a Little India?
Yeah. Mm-mm. It's about 2 blocks long on Main Street.
Oh, right.
And
So have you seen Only Gorgeous Women?
No.
I've seen The Beasts.
Sure.
Say it.
Sure, of course.
Say it. I've seen
No,
The Beasts.
I will not say that. It is disrespectful.
I love how you're trying to get me in trouble, but you won't.
But, what would it be like for you to walk down that part of town? Would people be falling at your feet?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think so. I think a lot of people just don't recognize me a lot of times. They'll, if
Out
they
of
come,
context like that.
yeah, I think they'll come and watch me at my shows, and then I'll meet them afterwards and shake hands. But I don't think I make myself, I actually don't think I give myself that allure of being, a star. I think you've seen me, Guy. Like after shows, I make sure I meet everybody, and I keep myself available and accessible to a lot of people. So I think it's like more like when they see someone, like they see me on the street and they do recognize me. It's like they've seen a relative or a cousin, and they'll be like, "Hey, how's it going? When's your next show? Can't wait to see when it's coming up. When are you scheduling something for Vancouver?" They won't run and bow at my feet. I don't think I have that kind of appeal just yet.
Well, you're all relatives and cousins, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking that I would get some real cred in my neighborhood if you and I were to walk down Little India Street together.
I think if you and I were to walk down Little India, people would notice you more than they would me. And they'd be like, "Hey, let's go see the white guy. He might have some money."
Oh, I don't think so. So you're in Vancouver and not performing that I can tell anyway.
No, I'm a guest judge on this show on CBC. Are we allowed to talk about the CBC on this?
Sure.
Called Canada Writes. So I'm a guest judge, so I'm really here for that.
And your background in the writing gig is what?
I don't know, I'm part of the Writers Guild.
Oh,
yeah.
What because of your stand-up, or have you written scripts?
Because of my stand-up, but I'm also co-writing a couple of scripts and consulting on a couple of scripts here in Canada, yeah.
That means you see what the writer has done and you
Punch it up.
Oh, yeah.
Punch it up, add a couple of things, change a couple of things, give them suggestions, tell them that this scene needs a little more drive or changing. So I do a lot of that too, yeah. Definitely.
So in this Canada Writes thing, you are judging short stories, and they just want regular entertainers to give their take on it, right?
Yeah, I think there's a musician, there's that's judging, like a singer-songwriter, and then there's a film director, and then myself. We're 3 judges on it, for the Vancouver leg of it, at least.
Are you going to be tough?
Nah, I don't think so. I'm never tough on everybody else's art, I think artists need encouragement more than anything else. And then, so I think I'm gonna be probably the Ellen DeGeneres of the gang.
That's an American Idol reference. Yeah, I know you don't perform in Canada anymore, do you?
Not that I don't. I have. I was just here last fall, so I do.
With the Just for Laughs tour, you were hosting
Exactly.
coming to, and Danny Boy closed it up, and now he's going to be performing at the Vogue Theatre soon, I think.
Exactly. I'll be back in 2011. I do Canada, but I just don't want to, come back and give the Canadians something lukewarm. I'd rather really prepare and give people something completely new and different. Because I did have a special that aired all last year.
Wow.
And all
on
that
HBO Canada?
HBO Canada, first Canadian to get an HBO Canada special, and it was, and all that material I feel like people know by heart, so I don't really want to do that anymore. And I'm building a whole new 45, which I can't do. I think realistically, if you really want it to be a top quality, you can't really do it in a couple of months. So I'm doing my classic material in the States where they don't know me yet, and everywhere else around the world.
Your classic.
My classics, or what the Canadians call the classics, but the greatest hits. Yeah. But I don't really want to do that in Canada right now. I want to give people something completely different, and I don't want to do it until I'm fully ready. Because I know people a lot of times pay, $30, $40, $50 to come see a show, and I don't want people. And they, a lot of people work 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to buy a ticket to come and see me, and I really want them to feel like it's worth it.
Yes, we should say that we are eating some nuts and having a drink here at the bar as well.
Yeah, it's
so
like a mix of something.
Yeah,
it's not just nuts. It's like pretzels and nuts and a lot of goodies in there at the Pan Pacific.
They want us to buy more drinks. But so you are in in the States, you're playing the clubs like you used to play here, whereas in Canada, it's theaters and other countries around the world too. Theaters, I assume, right? So, do you like going back to the clubs? Because clubs are great.
I love doing the clubs. I don't know how it's weird how what satisfies the artist a lot of times pays a lot less, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like clubs, when they're like, I'm doing like right now, I'm doing about, I'd say 200, 250 seaters clubs in the States. And to be honest, it's the best feeling in the world to be able to work a crowd and to see the guy who's in like the 10th row in a club and work him into the act. I mean, not that I don't do it in theaters. I've been known to do that and pick on the guy in the third balcony. But in a club, it's just a different energy. And, you know, you can also work a lot of new stuff in and weave in and out. It's sort of like jazz musicians, how they come in and just jam, you know? So I feel like, I've missed the clubs. I've missed the clubs a lot.
Are you going there as a known... hey, could you keep it down in the bar, please? We're doing an interview.
Who's ordering cappuccino at this point? Oh, it's a shake. Someone's getting a protein shake.
Are you going in as a known commodity? Or are you just like the headliner and people are going out to see a comedy show, whoever shows up?
Well, I think to a lot of...
in the States.
Yeah, in the States, I think to a niche crowd I'm known. Like... Obviously, there's some Americans who do know me because of YouTube and because a lot of their Canadian friends have, forwarded them clips, and of course the Indian population, knows no boundaries in terms of internet proliferation.
But very good with computers.
Yeah, very good with computers. Although there's one email I got to tell you about that no Indians ever forwarded to each other. There was an article that came out, CNN.com. Like a couple of years ago, where they said that the pregnancy rate in India was skyrocketing because Indian men couldn't fit into regular condoms because their penises were too small. And that email died in every Indian male's inbox. Like, it's that one email that nobody forwarded to each other about our culture. So that was a funny part of it. But I think it's exciting to be discovered again, somewhere. That's the exciting part, is going in where people have no expectations. And for me to come into the States a lot more prepared and, with a lot more experience under my belt than I did when I began in Canada, that's exciting to me. It's like just going in, knowing what I can deliver. I mean, sometimes I just can't wait to go on stage to go, oh, you guys don't know what you're in for,
So take me through your last, say, 3 months. I mean, because you play everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know where you are. You're on the road a lot.
Right. So do you want me to tell you the cities? Just list them?
Whatever you want to do.
Well, I'll tell you. I moved to LA for pilot season in January.
Sell out.
Only for 4 months. I still have a place in Montreal. So I'm back.
How did that go, by the way, the pilot season?
Pilot season was fun. I mean, I got to meet a lot of casting directors, which was cool, and got to work a lot of rooms in terms of the casting, meeting all the casting people, not the casting couch, meeting all the casting people and getting to know them, having them know me, and then worked with a lot of the biggest acting coaches in America.
Taking classes now. Are these group classes? Are they one-on-one? What are they?
Yeah, they're group classes, but small groups, and intensive. So my agents really got me in.
And are you doing embarrassing stuff that you just don't want to do? Like crying on cue or pretending you're a tree or something?
No, we stopped. We skipped all of that stuff. We stopped. I don't have to prance around in a tutu. So none of that stuff. It's like directly into the crux of the acting work, which is great.
You like acting?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like stand-up is always going to be my first love, but I think acting is going to be my mistress.
Now, what kind of you had auditions in the pilot season? What kind of roles?
It was great. I mean, I went out for a few things that casting agents saw me as. I mean, they were like, hey, okay, we see you as this, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I'm not being seen as just the guy who owns a restaurant or drives a cab or owns a convenience store and has the accent and just came from like a village in India.
Just one moment. Your dad, what does he do?
My dad is a retired man.
And what did he do?
He owned a convenience store, but...
There you go. And wait a second. Wait.
However, that was a different generation. generationally, we've all progressed. So we've become different people.
Sam, and did you ever work in his stores growing up?
Listen, man, this interview's outrageous. No, I did work. I did help him out. This is where I learned how to.
And yet, this is above you to portray that on screen.
I think to portray that as a now thing. If I portrayed that as a man in his 60s, and not in his 60s, in the 1960s, coming to Canada or coming to the U.S., opening a convenience store, it would totally be believable. But to do it now and still be that guy in 2010, I think even my dad would agree and say, look, my son's not this guy, and none of his friends are.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but not to say that I don't love what Peter Sellers did for the party. I mean, that was amazing to me.
Seriously?
I loved it. My dad and I watched that. If you're gonna play an Indian guy and you're a white guy, watch Peter Sellers in the party and do it that way, and every Indian will love you. I mean,
even today, do you think a white guy could play an Indian guy today?
If it was set in 1968 the way it was in the party, yes.
What was it about it that you liked?
Oh my God, he just nailed every single mannerism. Like, he just nailed it right on its head. Like, it was perfect. It was perfect. He was so perfect at it that it was scary. And if you're gonna do something, make sure it's right on. Don't make it a caricature. That's when we get offended. Is when it's right on, when it's detailed, when it's well studied. I mean, he reminded me of every single uncle I had. It was great. I have that on DVD. I watched it with my dad, and we still laugh our butts off. But no, I went out for like a CIA agent. I went out for a romantic lead. And I'm still testing for a couple of things, which is like in the romantic lead category, like the Hugh Grants, the Tom Hanks sort of thing. Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and at some point, I mean, I know you have interviews lined up throughout the day, most places you go. At some point, are you going to just be enough of this? I'm big enough. I'm going to be mysterious, and I'm only going to talk to Guy McPherson.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun though? If I could do that,
they'd have to go through me.
That would be cool. If you could.
I would pool the quotes.
Yeah. If you could say, look, I'm doing one interview per city.
No, that's too much. One per country.
One per country? All right, one per country, and then Guy McPherson was the guy, and then they'd have to syndicate that interview.
Yeah.
That would be sick, man.
Now we're talking.
All right, you got to help me do this, man.
All right.
You got to help me build this to a point where I could do that.
So, LA for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the whole past 3 months when I asked you to sort of lay out what you've been doing for the past 3 months?
Mm-hmm. No, I've been touring as well. I just got back from Egypt and Kuwait. So I was doing Egypt and Kuwait. Egypt exploded, man. Not literally, but but for me, I mean, it was a big surprise. I went there, and my fan base just grew like crazy over there. It just exploded, man. It was it moved up to number 3 in terms of like, when you look at the stats on your website or on your on your Facebook page. And it moved up to number 3 in terms of my fan base after Canada and the States. It was weird. All of a sudden, it just grew. But that was just one appearance. To the point where I think it's just because they didn't have a lot of stand-up there. They didn't have a lot to choose from, and they heard there was this show going on. Two shows in Cairo, 5,000 people, and then 2 shows in Alexandria, 2,000 people, and then word just started spreading.
And everyone speaks English?
Yeah. Well, everyone in the world now speaks English.
Sure enough. I know Maz Jobrani plays that part of the world a lot.
Yeah, I was with Maz.
Ah.
Yeah, it was myself, Maz, Ahmed, Dean Obadala, and Dean Edwards.
Dean Edwards. Which one of these doesn't belong?
Well, I think myself and Dean Edwards, but Dean Edwards stands out more in terms of what he looks like. But fantastic shows.
Yeah.
Fantastic shows and fantastic cast. Great guys, all of them. That was a good tour.
Yeah. So you were in Egypt, and where else in the past 3 months?
Egypt, Kuwait. I did a lot of the U.S. I did Sacramento, San Francisco, Seattle,
Atlanta,
Denver. Headlined the Improv in LA. 2 shows sold out, which was a surprise to everybody, including myself. I didn't know that I would draw in LA that much, and it was good. And it was surprising to see some of the faces there that were there. A lot of TV people were there, like people, like actors. I mean, like, oh, what are they doing here? Or TV presenters or things like that. Yeah.
Now, is it difficult to headline a club like that in LA or the surrounding area? Like, how did you get that?
I don't know, man. It just happened. It just sort of happened. Sometimes I don't even know how things go down. But they just called us and they said, hey, we'd like to try them out on a weekend. Let's see what happens, you know?
Did you get nerves anywhere?
I still get nervous every show. You know, I still get nervous a little bit right before. Not tons, you know? Not like
but probably a little less in, say, New Westminster than in LA when you look out and you see people that you know from TV.
No, to be honest, I think it's the same. I mean, I think it doesn't matter who's in the crowd. I just, you know, the fact that there's a crowd there and then I'm somehow responsible in entertaining them, you know? I think it makes me, like, I'd say probably 2 minutes before I go on stage, I start getting those nerves, but those are nerves that I look forward to. If I don't get them, then that bothers me. You know, I use those nerves on stage. No, Elvis, till the day he died, you know, used to go on stage and, like, 2 minutes before, always had to, like, puke. Well, it's probably all the medication and the food, of course. But he was always so nervous that, you know, he'd almost back out at the last second, and then finally, as soon as he'd hit the stage, it'd all go away.
I was at the Canadian Comedy Awards in St. John, New Brunswick, this year.
Or Newfoundland, wasn't it?
No,
Was it in New Brunswick?
Do you know the difference, St. John and St. John's?
Wait, that was last year, right? In 2009.
It was in October, yeah.
Oh, in October, right? Okay. Yeah, I heard that. I actually couldn't make it. I was doing something. I was doing a corporate in Bahrain or something like that.
Have you played St. John before?
New Brunswick?
Yeah.
I have. I played the
There's
university.
only one St. John.
Yes, St. John, New Brunswick. I've done the tour there. The tour stopped there last.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then I played the University of St. John. I think on 3 occasions. Yeah, which is good. I love St. John.
Harry Dupe, you know Harry Dupe?
I've heard about this. I know where you're going.
He does the statelessness of the industry address. What have you heard?
I heard that he actually pretty much pissed on all the successful comedians in Canada and somehow thought that I was one of them and looped me in there and talked about how my photos always look like modeling pictures. Is that right?
Right, that's right. Instead of, you don't look like a comedian, you look like a male model.
Well, that's just jealousy, isn't it? Harry, it's coming out. I mean, well, look, I'm
but
sure.
How does a comedian look?
I don't know.
Supposed to have an arrow through your head?
You know, a lot of people say to me, they go, when they meet me and they don't know what I do, they go, you don't look like a comedian. And I go, well, I can't help that, you know? To me, I mean, what else can I do? I mean, I can't change the way I look. I just do what I do on stage.
You don't need to make love to the camera like you do.
No, is that what he says?
No, he didn't. I'm just saying that.
I mean, I just pose the way I think it looks good. I mean, like, okay, well, this will draw people in. And then, you know, what am I supposed to do? Just make, like, because you've seen certain headshots where people are just making quirky faces. And I'm like, you know, to me, that's...
That's trying too hard.
That's too hard, but I don't know. Making love to the camera, why not? It's worked.
So you heard about this before, and what did you think when you heard?
I laughed. I mean, look, it's all in good fun. I'm sure Harry Dupe's a great guy, and he didn't mean it in a malicious way.
He attacked everyone.
Yeah, he attacked everyone, and he's having fun. And you know, what else you got to do? He has to give a state of the industry address, and he's got to do something. You know, he's got to find something to go after. And if this is all he could find about me, well, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's right.
I heard he said much worse about a lot of people. So
sure,
I gotta wait.
The line about Russell Peters. If Russell Peters had $1 for every time he talked about how much money he had, he'd have exactly the same amount of money that he has right now.
Right. I think that's a compliment to Russell, isn't it? In a way, in terms of how much he's making. But I mean, he's got to find something. And I actually think he was nice because he could have been a lot worse.
Sure. It was funny.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure it's funny. Did it get a laugh?
Yeah. to the crowd of 25 who were gathered.
Were there 25?
No, there was more than that.
All right.
It was an in-house kind of thing. It was the comics and the...
Well, thank God I wasn't there. Had I been there, it would have been, like, embarrassing.
So you live in L.A., and I'm of course wondering, are you living with someone else's parents, or your parents have moved down there?
My parents haven't moved. I haven't moved in with somebody else's parents. Although it does feel like my parents have moved there, even though they haven't.
Oh, why?
Because we've learned how to use Skype now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So my parents and I are Skyping. I didn't used to Skype until I needed to see my parents, and my parents needed to see me.
Yeah.
And now they've got a hold on me through Skype. Like, my parents will see my apartment and go, "Show us your fridge. What's in your fridge?" And my dad will start judging my food and go, "Egg whites? What the hell is egg whites? Where's the yellow?" That's what. And my mom's like, "Where are the spices? What's Mrs. Dash?" You know? I cook in a way different way than my mom does.
You cook, though?
I cook, but, like, I don't cook. I cook the basics. Like, I'll make eggs. I'll
The
make
whites of them.
with the whites. Yeah, the whites of them. I'll make oatmeal. I'll make. I'll heat chicken. Like, I'm not like a cook like my mom, where she knows that people are coming over in half an hour. She has a buffet ready out of nowhere. Like, I'm not that guy. I'll heat. I'll pour. I'll boil. And that's as good as it gets for me.
Then the Hollywood Reporter said that you're one of the top 10 rising comics from around the world, and included in that list was another Canadian, Jean Lajoie.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I know John was in that. It's good. I like John Lajoie. He's cool, man. Fellow Montrealer. I always love it.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it when guys from my city start breaking out.
Yeah, how many are there
What do you mean, guys in my city who are?
that are breaking out?
I don't know. I mean, there are always new ones. I think coming out. There are always hopefuls. I feel like there's a lot of talent in all the Canadian cities that no one is noticing. That sometimes people I wish would notice. Or, speaking of Harry Dupe, he said at one point he said, why does he always have to have his photos look like modeling photos? The industry is very interested in image. I mean, I'm not. I'd rather sell my material, but I know they're going to digest it much better if it's packaged well, And a lot of times you see comedians, especially in Canada, who are amazing comedians, and you're like, oh, this guy is so talented. I wish that someone would notice him. And then if he was just packaged right, someone would, And there's amazing amounts of talent everywhere, every city. I think Canada, on a ratio basis, or a per capita of comedians basis, much better than the U.S.
Seriously, and you know this now from, I guess you have openers in these clubs that you're playing in throughout the States, and they're from the town that you're in, and so you get to hear a lot of them.
I do, and I'll tell you, you know what it is? In Canada, I think we have the privilege of growing up in a school that's a lot better rounded. I mean, I learned how to do crowd work because they made me host.
You had a class of that in school?
Not at school, but I mean, the school is the comedy clubs here, because they made us as headliners. They make you host on your days off. Hey, you want to host? And yeah, I'll come and host. Hey, when you're a middler, they're like, hey, you're doing well middling. Do you want to come and host? Yeah, I'll host. Or you'll host an open mic, or the guys get thrown into all kinds of different situations. Whereas in the States, when you're a host forever.
Really?
Oh, these guys, they don't get a chance to progress. Some people say the hosts are horrible. I'm like, yeah, because you guys don't give them any other job than hosting. And then the middlers, same thing. They stay middlers forever, for a long time, until they get a TV show or something, And it's really tough to make it to headline status unless, you get a TV show or you get some sort of TV or radio credit where everyone knows you.
In case you're just tuning in, we're talking with Sam Khullar, a.k.a. Sugar Sammy, back for his fourth appearance?
Is it fourth appearance?
Maybe.
I think
only
so,
got one on podcast. I lost the other two.
Right. Oh, yeah, this is our fourth. We did one at the hotel, 2 in studio, and this is our fourth. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And this show is What's So Funny. I'm Guy McPherson, CFRO 102.7 FM, and on podcast, iTunes. Check it out. You and Jean Lajoie, both from Montreal, both have a bit about, he has a song, of course. You have a bit, I hear, haven't heard it yet, on Two Girls, One Cup.
Oh, no, I don't have a bit about Two Girls, One Cup.
Well, I read an interview with you where you said you did.
Oh, I didn't have a bit. I think I riffed with this girl. I was talking to this girl at one point, and then I said, "What do you do?" And I was just improvising, and she said, I'm an actress." And I said, "Didn't I see you in Two Girls, One Cup?" And the crowd went nuts, and that's where I got in trouble. I think that's what I was talking about, but I don't have a bit about it. But I think that I got in trouble for that from her, but the crowd loved it.
And that's in the vernacular now. Everyone knows what that is. I didn't know that until John Lajoie was coming to town, and I saw his song, and I, what's this about? And, did you watch it?
I did not watch it, although I'll tell you what was entertaining and good enough for me is to watch other people watching it.
Yes, there's a lot of those. That's great.
Those, I think those are funny enough that I don't need to watch the video itself. The best for me was when some kid made his grandmother watch it on her birthday.
Yes, I think I saw that.
I think that, to me, nothing beat that one, and watching this poor old lady's reaction. And have him put it up on YouTube and say happy birthday, Grandma. What an awful grandson, but what a funny video for the rest of us.
I think I got to 10 seconds of the actual video.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't dare. I said, I can't. I can imagine, but I was like, oh. And someone told me about another one recently. Some woman and a horse. And I was
really?
Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm not watching this. This. And apparently she died a few days later. I don't know. Maybe it's an urban legend.
You have sort of a swinger image, but you're a straight guy at heart? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think it comes from having a good family base and being grounded, and always having my mom and dad watch over me still, at this age, and like
through
Skype, where I feel like I don't have the need to go and, do crazy stuff to satisfy the rest of my life,
Yeah. You travel so much, you must get sick. Do you miss any shows due to sickness?
Oh, no, I have such a strict regimen now. In terms of, just my diet, It's like I make sure I get all my vitamins. I eat really healthy, fruits, vegetables, egg whites, chicken breasts, veggies, fish. Like, I'm very, very conscious of my diet. Cut out all the alcohol. Get plenty of rest. It's the only thing that keeps me going, in terms of not getting sick and not being unhealthy on the road. I think my worst vice is Diet Coke, to be honest. And that's not so bad. If that's the worst thing you're doing, it's not so bad. I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, I don't do any drugs. Diet Coke is the worst thing that I have.
And if we check out your clips online, there was a time when you were a little heavier. You weren't fat ever, but you were a little heavier. Mm-hmm. Were you partaking in all these other things in the past that you just decided to cut out for whatever reason?
For sure. Up until last year, I needed to have a few drinks before I went on stage. Yeah. It started out with 2 and 3, and then you went to 4, 5, and then at one point, man, I needed 8 or 9, and like hard drinks, like Jack and Cokes, to go up on stage. And then I said, look, I can't keep doing this. First of all, I feel unhealthy, I look unhealthy, and if this becomes a habit, it's not going to end very well for me, is it? So I said, let me try and see if I can. It wasn't an addiction, a physical addiction. It was more like a mental thing. Can I go on stage? I needed to go on stage with it. It just gave me more guts to be up on stage with a few drinks in me. I said, let me try without it. And then, lo and behold, I was better without the liquor. I had this fear the whole time that I wouldn't be able to pull it off without alcohol. And then,
so now it's just the crystal meth.
It's just the crystal meth. If anybody wonders where my teeth have gone, Guy McPherson has the answer.
Do you think I know you're very business oriented in your career, but you have now people to handle a lot of that for you so you can concentrate on the comedy. But do you think in terms of branding? I know in one interview you mentioned diversifying your portfolio.
Diversifying my portfolio, yeah. So what's the question?
Well, is business always in the back of your mind? Are you thinking of branding the Sugar Sammy brand?
I think it's always there. It's not one of those things where I think you can get away from. Even though I have people handling it, you still gotta sort of. In this business, you've got to see yourself as the CEO of your brand, of your business, and you've got to drive it, and you've got to, push that philosophy make sure that everybody's on board and motivate the players who are playing along with you and who are helping you out, your agents and your managers and the rest of your team, the publicists. You've got to drive that home, And if you don't have that, then everything else falls out of place. You got to be that glue that brings it all together.
You're saying you got to motivate them?
You do.
Like so you're in constant contact? What are you saying to them?
I mean, look, they're also motivating you, but in a lot of ways you've got to show them that you want this, That's going to make them work for you a lot more, Go out and get it for you a lot more. If you're just one of those clients who waits by the phone, then you're always going to be that guy that just waits by the phone. But if you're driving your own business, you're driving traffic to your website, getting people to notice you, you're getting people, but in the right way,
Do you Twitter?
I do. I just got on Twitter last year, at the end of last year. I'm starting to tweet, but I'm not that good at it yet. I'm trying to figure out how to work this. And sometimes you think to yourself, I don't want my thoughts and all of my actions to be public because some of this stuff is for me. Then you have no privacy whatsoever. I can't put all of my thoughts up there.
What's your last tweet? Sorry, I'm not into this.
I think my last tweet was about being here, showing up here, coming to Vancouver. That was it, because it's linked to my Facebook, so I just kind of put it up there.
Oh, there you go. That's where I knew that you were coming to Vancouver, through Facebook.
Oh, through Facebook. Yeah, Facebook I find so practical. I mean, I'm always on, man. And that's my lifeline with all my fans, but it's becoming tougher. I used to reply to every single email, but now it's getting tough, man. It's I can't keep up anymore. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to do it where maybe what I'll do is schedule a day a week. A Sunday where I can just chat with everyone, from 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or something. I don't know. I'm going to try and figure something out.
From 2 to 4, answer emails.
Yeah, but I can't keep up with those, man. I can't. There's too much. At the end of the week, you have 200 in each account, and you're like, okay, I just can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
Form letter.
Cut and paste.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
I don't know. Is there a way? I find there must be a way to. You were telling me once about, and we never got down to it, an interview we could do on Skype with a bunch of people. How could we do that? Could we do that once a week or something?
With a bunch of people? No, I was talking about you and me doing it for the blog. Oh. And I forgot about that until you mentioned that you're on Skype and you talk to your parents. And I was thinking, we should do that sometime.
We should do that. I love Skype now. Yeah. I didn't know how it worked when we started talking about it. And someone taught me Skype in Hong Kong. A friend of mine lives there. I was in Hong Kong, and he said, man, you should get on Skype. We could chat all the time. I was like, I've heard about Skype, but I don't know how it works. And then we went and we bought this webcam, which was in Hong Kong $2 or something, right? So I bought 5 of them. And so I plugged it in and he started teaching me. He gave me a tutorial. And I said, this is amazing. Yeah. This is going to put the phone companies out of business one day.
It should.
It should, yeah. Or get the phone companies to at least lower their rates. Not that it's that bad here, but it's bad in the States. But
it is the future, right? When we could see the person in those TV shows from 30 years ago, when you had those phones where you could see the person you're talking to. This is it.
Yeah, good and bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good and bad. Way harder to get away with cheating, isn't it?
You just keep them out of frame and you're okay. Hey, so do you get time? I mean, today's a day off, but it was a travel day, and tomorrow you're on the air. Do you get time to yourself?
It's tough, man. I feel like I haven't had time off in years. I need to schedule that. I need to schedule a couple weeks where I'm not working. But then I get that itch, I missed the stage.
So what's a day like when you're not working? Is it all still business related, or what do you do for fun?
I usually, I don't know, I have a list of things I got to go through, Even yesterday, I woke up, I had to go to the bank, take care of some business stuff there, and then I had to talk to my managers, plan out something for this summer, and then I went to acting class, for 3 hours. That was my day. So, and then the day before, I was taping an audition that we had to send to LA. So I was rehearsing for it, then taping it with a couple of friends. So it's I'm always working, but I feel like work for me is play at the same time. That's the thing is I love what I do so much that it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like something I want to do anyways.
But do you maintain contact with old friends from back in the day? Do they just think, oh, he's moved on, he's too big for us now?
No. Actually, a buddy of mine just texted me today, and he wanted to watch the Habs game. And he said, look, I heard you're in town. I said, I just flew to Vancouver. And he said the same thing as you. He said, man, your schedule's all over the place. I said, I'm coming back Saturday, and I'd love to see it on Saturday. So I'm getting together with my high school friends to watch the Habs game at a sports bar.
In Montreal?
In Montreal.
Yeah. Did you ever go back to your old high school?
Oh, I haven't been back. You know, I've been
Is there
invited.
a Sugar Sammy Day?
There's no Sugar Sammy Day. There should be. No, I'm kidding. But I've been invited by 2 students who are on my Facebook fans page who said, can you please come do a show at the old high school? We're fans of yours. The whole high school knows you, and we're here. We'd love for you to come down and do a show there. And I've got to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, just go to the auditorium and maybe surprise them. Like, you know, just have like a...
Just let the principal know.
Let the principal know. But do a show. I'd eventually love to do that. Like, just go back to my old school and give them like a free show.
Well, now you have some risque material.
Yeah.
You would take that out, of course, wouldn't you, for high school?
I don't know. I'd probably ask the principal if we could just do it for the seniors. And,
Still.
And for a grade below, and where it could be like, where it could be risque. I'm sure they'd let me get away.
16 and 17-year-old girls, yeah, sure.
Yeah, actually, you're right. But they, you know, a lot of the sexual material probably, I mean, I'm hoping they wouldn't understand. But maybe I'm naive, right? Maybe I'm naive. I'm hoping they won't understand. But look, I was 8 when I watched Delirious, and the sexual stuff still made me laugh. So.
True enough, but that's young enough where exactly you wouldn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
16 and 17, I don't know. If you tell one of them you know them from 2 Girls, 1 Cup, that's probably problematic.
Yeah. But the thing is, they'd know what it is. I don't know, I got to figure it out. I do want to do a show. I just want it to be right. I don't want them there to be crickets while I'm doing this show.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a show that I'll host, and I'll bring other comedians, and I'll say, hey guys, Sugar Sammy, I'm bringing you a bunch of guys, and we'll all do like the 5 minutes of safe material we have.
You know, you talk about the Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle. I know you opened for. We've talked about that, and but who are your favorite Canadian comics?
Let's see, who are my favorite Canadian comics? Man,
Even if we don't know them.
Let's see. Oh, I love working with Deliso Chaponda. You know Deliso?
Oh, yeah. He opened for you.
Yeah, he opened me. I mean, he's one of my favorite guys to hang out with and to work with. Toby Hargrave, who's from here. Also another great comedian who I think definitely has the potential to be, you know, one of the best here. As long as people just...
Same with him, though. His shots all look like male model.
Toby, I love Toby.
He's open for you too.
He has, you know, and he's a headliner in his own right. He's, you know, he's one of those guys who I know down the line someone's gonna see the potential and go, this guy's gonna be huge. Toby Hargrave, Delisa Japonda, Massimo from Montreal as well, Italian guy. Also not very well known.
Massimo, just Massimo.
Just Massimo. One word. Look him up. And this guy I could watch on stage. I've seen him do an hour and a half. And not been bored for a second. Just go up and like there was a crowd of like 20 people. He said, I'm just gonna go and put on this little show and try stuff out. And he's so versatile and so strange, but like funny at the same time that you can't stop watching this guy. So Massimo. Yeah, I think those are probably. Oh, Ron Jossel. I love Ronnie Jossel. I love touring with him as well. He's lots of fun to hang out with. Yeah.
I know. I don't want to put you on the spot there.
I mean, those are the 4 guys. I mean, that I would take on the road. Yeah. If I had to do a Sugar Sammy and Friends, like at one point where I'd like, hey guys, you guys got to check these 4 guys out. Like, tell all of my fans to see 4 guys that I love working with. These would be the 4.
Oh, when you said Sugar Sammy and Friends, it made me think of Sugar Sammy in French. And last year you performed at the French Gala in Montreal.
Oh, yeah.
First time performing in French, right?
No. It wasn't my first time. It was my first gala. So it was my first real gala that was televised for, 2 million Quebecers.
Right, and I remember seeing the YouTube clip, not understanding what you were saying, although there was an article about it in Maclean's magazine. And what I loved is seeing, I mean, I heard the reaction, I heard the laughter, but the people that they showed, the reaction shots, looked a little pissed off. What were you saying? How was the reaction to that?
The reaction overall was people were surprised because in terms of Quebec popular culture, no one had ever confronted the separatist movement from the other side, from my side of the fence, which is the visible minority, the Anglos, the rest of Canada. Everybody had talked about it from the Quebecois side of things, which was very easy to sell. It's like, preaching to the choir almost. But to really face all these Quebecers who are, most of the people in the crowd were pretty much separatists, and to tell them what we really thought.
How do you know that?
Well, because the demographics were explained to me before I went on stage, and people asked me a few times, "Are you sure?" This is actually other minorities were like, "Are you sure you want to say this in front of this audience?" And I said, "I think I can make it work." And so I actually went
because you're very likable, but did it work?
It worked. I got a standing O at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I won the Discovery of the Year in French, at the French part of the Just for Laughs. So I won a trophy for it, and now I'm nominated for 2 big awards in Quebec. This big ceremony that 2 million people are going to watch on TV.
Oh wow!
So I'm nominated for that number, for that set. 2 big awards, 2 big nominations.
That's got to make you feel good.
That makes me feel good, and like a target at the same time. But
Do you change any minds?
I think I probably have, or I've made
some eyes.
I've opened some eyes. I think a lot. I received a lot of emails from a lot of Quebecers, a lot of young Quebecers who said, for the first time, it feels like someone really touched on how it feels like to be a visible minority sometimes in Quebec. Sometimes it feels like to be treated that way, because there is a different. You see it. You are treated differently, or you were to a certain extent, and still there's an energy there that's still there. There's a tension that's still alive, especially with the older Quebecois people, vis-a-vis the younger ones and the minorities. But the younger Quebecois people are actually hip to the world now and hip to multiculturalism.
If there was a referendum today or in the near future, would that be something you would get involved in and go on stage and do this act some more?
Absolutely. I think I would. I hope it doesn't come down to that. I hope it doesn't happen. Although there's talk about it. I think Gilles Duceppe brought it up again this week. And I just went, let it go. Jesus, haven't you guys done enough? It's been like this, but they said no twice. What do you want now,
But it was close.
It was close, but look, the fact that it was close doesn't mean that it wasn't decisive. It was still decisive. You know what I mean? It was still a no. Yeah. So let's just move on. Instead of, times are tough on this planet right now economically, especially in North America. We're holding it together, but this is not going to help our situation. This is definitely going to drive it down. Yeah. So let's focus on the positive and build this country together. And if you want to be recognized as a distinct society, I think it's already there. People recognize Quebec as a distinct society, and I made that point as well in my stand-up.
I just saw a glimpse into your future. Prime Minister Sugar Sammy.
People have been telling me that.
Really?
I don't think it's been like emailed to me. It's been said in interviews, and I'm like, listen, I don't know if I don't know. I'd rather be mayor of Montreal. That's how I put it. I'd rather really take care.
That's where you start. Sure.
I think that's all I'd want. I don't think I'd want that kind of power. Not that the prime minister has any sort of power, but I don't think I'd want that kind of heat. Although I do like, making people happy. That's why I get up and do stand up. But I feel like they dig into my past and just bring up all the comedy sets that I did and use them against me.
That's right.
So
anything inappropriate you ever said in your life?
Anything, and there's so much. You've been to my shows. every second word's inappropriate.
You were the guy who tipped me off to Feist before she got really big. Who are you listening to now? Who's on your iPod that I might not know?
You probably know her, but actually I haven't bought it yet, but I've been listening to her new album, but I'm gonna buy it tomorrow. I'm gonna go pick it up. Sade, new Sade album.
Yeah, from 1984.
No, the new one, 2010.
But you like that? I sense a trend there with Feist and Sade.
Yeah, I like female voices a lot, and I like those soothing female voices. They really resonate with me, you know. Diana Krall, I like listening to bossa nova. I like listening to soft, smooth music that really brings peace into my life, because my life is so hectic all the time, you know, that I like that stuff. I actually really like, I don't know if your listeners and yourself will hate this or love this, but I actually really like Michael Bublé. I'm a fan of Michael Bublé.
Local boy?
Yeah, is he local boy here? Yeah, it's true, Vancouver boy. Love his stuff, man, and great voice. What a great voice.
You said in another interview, somebody asked you a great first date, and you said a jazz club.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just read this tonight, actually, but first date I ever took my wife on was to a jazz club. See, I got it, Sam.
How cool is that? You got a little booth, there's a band playing. You know, it's just perfect setting. You don't have to. My whole philosophy is you don't have to do any work in a jazz club. That place just does the work for you. You know, all you need is to show up and bring your visa.
Yeah. It worked for me, but you're still single.
I'm still single. Yes. Well, that has to do with my schedule more than anything. As soon as I can start working a companion ticket into my contracts.
Yeah, soon.
I know. Then I'll start looking for that woman. But I also want a woman who has her own ambitions and her own money. You know what I mean?
You don't want to look after the woman of your soulmate. You don't want to look after your soulmate.
I don't want a princess, you know? I'd rather have a girl who has her own thing going on.
She will be raising your child.
Exactly.
So you will have to look after her.
Well, I also want a woman that, let's say something happens to me, she'll be able to fend for herself.
Insurance.
That's true. Or I never thought of it. Or won't have to kill me to try and take my money. I'm not getting life insurance. I watch enough Forensic Files. I know how this works. I know that's sense.
Hey, do you go back to the music? Do you like the Indian Bollywood stuff? I went into a store in my neighborhood, an Indian store, and they were playing, bordering on screeching, but I really like it. I really like it. You know what I'm talking about, the Bollywood stuff.
No, I don't listen to that stuff. I listen to the old Bollywood stuff, like from the '80s, but the new stuff is kind of weird. I feel like I don't know. It's become like the state of Bollywood's become like the state of hip hop. The music just doesn't say anything. It's just like 2 or 3 words that they keep repeating over and over. No sentence structure. No real like verses in there. You know, barely a chorus. You know, no song construction. Whereas old Bollywood songs are actually very pretty, I thought.
You're sounding like an old curmudgeon.
I feel like an old man. I keep hating music that comes out all the time. I always like listen to like Michael Bublé, Feist. I'm into 80s music, you know? Yeah. And I feel like I'm talking about music the way my parents were talking about my music.
Sure. Yeah. It's the circle of life right there.
It's crazy. You know what that means? I gotta buy me some Lady Gaga and get on top of it.
Oh yeah. So how does this affect your references in your comedy act? Like, do you have to stay on top of them, or do you just use old references?
No, I use old references, but I also stay on top of new ones because I make fun of them. You know, like Lady Gaga. We just brought up Lady Gaga. Right?
It's just funny to say, though.
Lady Gaga?
Yeah, I don't even, if she walked in here right now, I wouldn't even know who that is.
Exactly.
But it's a funny name, Lady Gaga.
You don't know who she is? She always comes to award shows dressed like a forest or like the tundra or like.
I thought that was Bjork.
Bjork used to Bjork of the '90s. Bjork of 2010 is Lady Gaga. She can't. It's weird. I think she always comes dressed up like something new. You know?
But so do you purposely stay on top of the current trends for those references, or do you not care?
Nah, I don't really force myself into anything. You know, into keeping on top of references just for the sake of it. I just write about what interests me. I think that's where you got to start. I mean, a lot of it is very personal relationships, you know. I think that's where it stems from. But pop culture references only if I watch something and I go, wow, I got to talk about this. You know? I don't know. Ricky Martin coming out.
Oh yeah, big surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just as surprised as when George Michael came out. It's like, you know, what I mean? Or when Elton finally, declared that he loved men. It's like we're all
floored. We were all floored.
Yeah, we're all floored. Like, no way. I think, who would you be surprised?
George Clooney.
George Clooney. But there have been rumors about Clooney.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not heard that.
Yeah, there have been industry rumors. Google it, man. There have been rumors. I mean, anytime a guy's single for a long time, I think, until in his 40s, I gotta get a girl quick.
Yeah, you're in your 30s.
Yeah. You know, if anytime a guy's single way into his 40s, people start talking.
But you know what I want to say to that is that I was single for a large portion of my life, and sure, maybe my sisters or some friends might go, "Are you gay?" And I'd be like, "Well, I don't have a boyfriend." I think that's a prerequisite.
Yeah,
I may not have a girlfriend, but I don't have a boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't think that's the requisite. The requisite is you don't like to touch other penises. Like, that's pretty much, that's got to be the definition.
Yeah, right there.
No, but what were you talking about?
I don't know.
Who would you be surprised? I'd be surprised.
Well, they say even John Travolta.
Travolta, yeah. Well, anybody who's a Scientologist, they try and stigmatize with all kinds of other crap. Don't you find? And Cruz, Travolta, who else is a Scientologist?
Kirstie Alley.
Is Kirstie Alley a Scientologist? Well, they never gave her the lesbian vibe, but...
Are you a Scientologist?
They call her fat all the time. No, I'm not a Scientologist, but as soon as I can afford it, I'm going to go into this. It's the road to success, everybody.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, I'd be surprised if Clive Owen, because that's like a dude.
Clive Owen? I don't even know who that is.
You know Clive Owen. Clive Owen.
Isn't he the announcer on Laugh-In?
No, Clive Owen. Clive Owen. He was in Closer with Natalie Portman and Julia Roberts. He was in Duplicity with Julia Roberts.
Basically, anyone involved with Julia Roberts is.
I love her.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, Sandra Bullock now is single.
I know, man. But Sandra Bullock doesn't do it for me.
No.
Unless she's, calls me and says, "Let's go." I mean, I wouldn't say.
She's a big fan of this podcast.
Yeah, unless Sandra, if you're listening, call. And it's a whole different world. But no, Julia Roberts does it for me. I also I'm not loving the new women.
Oh, really? So now you're a little older women that you like?
The older women. There's something about them.
Yeah.
Julia Roberts, Charlize Theron, Ashley Judd. Totally into that. Even Susan Sarandon.
She is very old.
I know. But
Like 60 years old.
Yeah, but come on. Come on, guy. Not even on a slow day? Huh? Sunday to Wednesday? Come on.
Sam, it's been a pleasure. It's time to go.
Thanks, guy. Thanks for doing this again, man. Fourth time.
Yeah, come back.
I'd love to.
Even after you get so big that you stop doing interviews, you'll always do this.
Hey, come on. I love doing this interview. This is my favorite.
Great. Thanks so much.
Hey, man. Thank you.
That was fun, wasn't it? Sugar Sammy, his fourth appearance right here on What's So Funny on CFRO 102.7 FM, Vancouver's cooperative radio. Also listen to us on podcast. Google us. Got a blog as well. That's it. We'll be back here again next Sunday night, 11 till midnight. Hope to see you then.